Since 1987, a key stop along the way to the NFL draft has been the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. And each year, the Steelers football staff makes the 360-mile drive to be on hand. Lucas Oil Stadium hosts the player workouts, and in recent years, the Indiana Convention Center has served as the connection point between the media, athletes, and team personnel.
Lots of stuff here. We're glad to be back at the Combine.
Absolutely.
We didn't have one last year.
Kevin Colbert giving his annual Combine press conference.
State of the Steelers.
State of the Steelers. There we go, Dale.
Good afternoon, everybody. Any questions?
Hey, you know what time it is?
The City of Champions.
And he's going to get sacked. Let's go! Touchdown, Steelers.
The standard is the standard.
It was a welcome sight to see a return of face-to-face discussions and personal interactions. The buzz in the building was back. For the Steelers, with Ben Roethlisberger retiring just weeks earlier and the start of free agency a few weeks away, General Manager Kevin Colbert touched on a topic he hasn't had to talk about much since the Steelers selected the quarterback in the 2004 NFL Draft.
Quarterback is obviously a huge position in any given season, especially this year with our Hall of Fame quarterback calling it a career. So I believe it's a quality class. There might not be the number of players at that position that there have been in the past, but it's certainly good quality, and there's going to be starting NFL quarterbacks coming out of this class for sure. Yeah, we'll look at every potential to replace any given player at any given position. We'll always start with the trade market, the unrestricted free agency, the college draft. There's a lot of different avenues that players can come from, and it's our job to keep up with each and every one of them. Because you go in with an idea about who may be available via trade through our various calls, you'll continue to gather information on the evaluations of those players, and then you get into the specifics as to what you're trading away from.
It's always a great time of year, off-season, building a football team.
It's great to be back here, and we're almost back to normal, which is great for everything.
We're very fortunate to be joined now by a man that, let's be honest, a towering figure in terms of building one of the top teams in the AFC for 2 decades. Kevin Colbert. Is this a real retirement?
Well, we've left the door, we've left it open. And I don't want to be whoever the next person is. If I can help and not hinder, great. When Art Rooney and myself interview some candidates for the position, our focus is really on unrestricted free agency, the draft, and you really don't have time to reflect on what may be happening afterwards. So we're really, our focus is right now just trying to do the best we can for our team this off season and see where it goes.
As Colbert finished his rounds with the media, he did so with a familiar face and another member of the 2004 draft class.
Maximilian. What's up, Maximilian?
Max Starks was selected by Colbert and the Steelers in the 3rd round of the 2004 NFL Draft. He went on to play 10 seasons, winning 2 Super Bowls along the way. He has stayed in the game now, working as a member of the Steelers radio network team.
When I had the opportunity of interviewing Kevin Colbert, it was a full circle moment. It was a very surreal moment for me because I remember being interviewed by him and the Steelers organization when I was here 18 years ago. So to come from interviewee to interviewer for a man that's been a part of this entire process for all of the 21st century, who's been an architect for the Steelers teams and personnel, is truly a blessing. I'm like the historian because I actually lived through those years. So to watch it from being inside the building to then seeing it from the outside of the building and then being on the sidelines gave me a lot of cumulative experiences and thoughts. I mean, I've come a long way since OL 41, which was my number when I came here to the Combine. I still have the sweatshirt, and now guys have custom embroidered shirts, and we had like this wool type of sweatshirt. Being a former player and being here at the Combine, I think presents a very unique lens. Now being on the media side of it, you kind of see how the sausage is made, and I think that's kind of one of the cool things because I've been on both sides of this, so it gives me a unique perspective. I think that's what makes this really cool because now it's kind of being a shepherd between the fans and the audience that's listening to us, also to the player's perspective. So you're that medium in between. So when I look back on my time here in the interview processes, everybody wants to pretend they like you here. So when I look at that, I had no clue the Steelers were that interested in me. I thought they were kind of going through the paces and just interviewing me because I didn't have an official visit afterwards. I didn't have a private workout. Coach Cowher came to my pro day only for the weigh-in and then was not there for any drill work or the 40s or any outdoor stuff. So for me, it was kind of crazy to have that call come.
And it was here in Indianapolis that Starks had a chance meeting with the man who scouted him nearly 20 years earlier.
It's funny that, when we look at this path, Kelvin Fisher was actually the integral piece that I think got me over the top, that got me an opportunity with the Steelers. What do you remember about me from the 04 Combine and stuff?
Big, smooth, athletic guy. Great feet.
Yeah,
great feet.
Yeah,
and I think, I want to say, I believe you had an ankle injury that year during the season. You pretty much played on it all season.
Did not miss. I missed one morning practice and 2 days.
Okay, yeah, and I think it was refreshing to see, because when you're playing with a bad ankle, it's hard.
Yeah.
But then to see you at the combine, everything fresh, healed, ready to go.
Yeah.
Looks a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I used to spend a lot of time going up to the scout's office and just chopping it up and just talking with them. And I had some long conversations with Fish, and then I was training at Athletes Performance, which is now Exos out in Arizona at the time. And so I realized that Fish was there the whole time, looking at and watching and how I interacted. And so all those years later, as we're talking, he's like, Max, I'm the West Coast coordinator, so when you landed at API with Eugene Parker, I was like, let me go over and see what this guy is. So I made sure that I said my piece in favor of you. It was something that meant a lot to me. So, when I look at special moments, Kelvin Fisher is one of those guys that sticks out to me because he was one of the guys that I was actually, he was closer to me than I even knew, and then we gained a great relationship over the years because of it. I think one of the unique things that made the Steelers different was I could come talk to guys like you.
I could
have that interaction with the scouting department.
Right.
And it made you want to interact, with you guys.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it to the fullest. And when you put all that work in, it's rewarding when they draft one of your guys. Yeah. And then if that guy pans out, it's even more rewarding because, you're like, I was on point with it. Because you do a lot of work maybe for one guy.
Yeah, exactly. All those reports.
Yes, one guy. You really get to know these guys, man, and especially, they're young men at that time. And then all of a sudden, you may draft them, they come to your organization, and you see them grow. And especially when you have good people like you, you see, okay, I just think you just got to evaluate the right way, know who fits you, and hope they fall to you.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's one of the key things is these guys dropping to you, the guys that you want.
I'll let you get on.
Oh, definitely, man. It's good seeing you too, man.
It's good seeing you too.
March is not just one of the busiest months of the NFL calendar, it's also Women's History Month. Women working in and around the NFL is now commonplace in various roles, including coaching, scouting, and athletic trainers. But before all that, there was Sue Hillman and Ariko. When Hillman joined the Steelers as an intern in 1997, she was the first woman to do so in the NFL in that capacity.
Kind of a funny path because it was Rick Burkholder who was an assistant at Pittsburgh. Rick was an assistant for me at University of Arizona. I was the head athletic trainer at U of A, and Rick was one of my GAs, and then I put him on full-time staff. Then when he left the University of Arizona and went to Pittsburgh Steelers, we kept in touch. And when I resigned my position as head athletic trainer at University of Arizona, Rick called me and said, now that you don't have to work Wildcat football, will you come and work Pittsburgh Steeler football? That was the start of my NFL experience.
Hillman's journey to Pittsburgh had actually started 20 years before joining the Steelers when she suffered an injury at Purdue University.
It was actually a situation where I injured my knee. It was about 1974, and I was at Purdue University, and in my rehab, I had to go to the physical therapy department, and I met Pinky Newell. Loved what he did and how he handled the various patients that came into physical therapy. And I told him I wanted to do what he does. There was a female physical therapist, but no athletic training women. In 1975, I think it was, that Purdue hired their first female athletic trainer. My first year, I volunteered with the physical therapy department, and the second year I was able to volunteer with the newly named women's athletic trainer.
After working her way to the top as head athletic trainer at the University of Arizona, Hillman was invited to Steelers training camp by head athletic trainer John Norwig.
I came in, I was probably late 30s, and most of the other interns were 20s. So I didn't have to feel my way around to earn my oats. Most of the athletes gave me an immediate level of respect. I was able to fit in the team very quickly and easily. I was the first female named as head athletic trainer in a Division I college. I had suffered through about 13 years of that, breaking the glass ceiling, if you will. I had all that behind me, and this was just another part of life for me. It wasn't difficult at all.
After being away from the team for almost 2 decades, Hillman was invited back to Steelers training camp in 2018.
It was 19 years between the time that I worked summer camps with John in the late 90s to 2018 when he asked me to come back. He asked me to come back and see how things had changed, and boy, had they changed. It's incredible to see how John has opened the door. John always has had a female on his staff since Ariko, and it's very heartwarming to see that we have broken that glass ceiling. Hopefully it continues to break open and disappear.
You know, Sue Hillman, she is the actual, legend of our profession. She was an athletic trainer when the Title IX was barely introduced in 70s. I respect her so much.
Just a few years after Hillman became the first female athletic training intern in the NFL, Ariko Isso's journey also led her to the Steelers, where she spent 2 summer internships before being hired as the first full-time female athletic trainer in the NFL.
I think 99% of athletic trainers start to be in this profession being athletes or different degree of athletes and injure yourself, and I'm no exception. Growing up in Tokyo, but played basketball in my junior high and high school, and I torn ACL and I had a surgery, and I got to spend 2 months in the hospital doing rehab and got to meet some collegiate athletes and physical therapists, and found out about the profession. So that's how I decided to come to United States to become an athletic trainer. I was working at the Portland State University as a head football athletic trainer. It's like a second year out of grad school, which is fairly rare. And then attended this medical seminar in San Francisco, and that's when I met Mr. John Norwig first time.
Meeting John Norwig not only led Isso to the Steelers, but it was her first time on the east side of the country.
First time being in Pennsylvania was driving to the Latrobe, Pennsylvania. I started the training camp. All of a sudden you see the beautiful cathedral and St. Vincent campus. First I stepped into the training room and John mentioned his philosophy and how he deals with this professional sports. You know, Rico, these people might be bigger and faster and more talented, but when you are treating them as a medical professionals, ankle is same ankle of Jerome Bettis to high school athletes, or you are college athletes. anatomy is the same, so you just do your job same as what you've been doing. So I did the 2 summer training camp, and then the Steelers decided to make this third position to be a full-time. I think the people is biggest part of those learning experience is priceless. I think I realized that when I left Steelers, the people and what I learned from each people, that's I would treasure the rest of my life. I still get approached by some of the student athletic trainer who is, early 20, and they find out I used to work in NFL and was the first female to work in NFL, which is kind of foreign subject to them, which is good because now many females are working in the medical field to coaching to scouting. I never really thought of a first female part as a big deal, and I think the Steelers organization, Mr. Rooney, John, and Ryan made me never felt like I'm the first or only female working in the environment. And I was supported by them and protected by them, and you do your job and don't think of your female male. They try to find somebody who fits and who's best for that position. I think they are good at what they do, not just being female to add diversity, but they are the right person to do that job.
Having the right people is something every business strives for, and as the free agency frenzy began earlier this month, the Steelers made moves to retain and add players that fit with the black and gold.
It's incredible. It's pretty interesting. The offensive line, they went out and got a cornerback.
I still think Trubisky's the headliner because quarterback is the most important position. With guys that, on paper at least, make the Steelers a much better team than they were at the end of last season.
I'm beyond excited to be here in Pittsburgh. I just want to thank the Rooney family and Coach Tomlin for this opportunity. I'd like to thank my beautiful wife who's here with me and my family for their support, and I'm just very appreciative for this opportunity.
JD!
What's up, bro? What's up, man? He's for you too. That's you.
I mean, I'm just excited to be here, and wherever the team needs me at, that's what position I'll play.
Whatever I can do to help this team win and bring a Lombardi Trophy here to the city of Pittsburgh.
When Pittsburgh called, I was more than excited to come, have the opportunity to play here on another great defense.
So once I got on the phone with Coach Tomlin and got to speak with him, and first thing he said was, we're trying to win a championship and we need that on defense. So once he said that, it was a no-brainer. That's what I'm here to do, and that's all I really want to do is just get to work and play football. That's it.
I'm looking forward to just putting on the black and yellow and playing football no matter where that's at, whether it's at receiver or just returning kicks or whatever I can do to help this team win ball games.
Oh yeah, that's cute. That's cute.
The doors are still open, and in 1 month, more new faces will walk through them. As pro days continue at colleges across the nation, Kevin Colbert and the Scouts are working to finalize their draft board. With any luck, the Steelers will be able to select the players they want as the NFL Draft in Las Vegas begins April 28th.